You are now listening to the District 2 Sports Podcast, available on Podbean, Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. It costs you nothing to smash that like button. Leave us a review and follow District 2 Sports on Facebook, X, and Instagram for more content and coverage. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
All right, the District 2 Sports Podcast is back in Salem, Virginia, and we are talking to the Roanoke Maroons men's basketball coach, Coach Clay Nunley, who enters his 10th season at the helm with 160 wins and coming off a Sweet 16 appearance. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks, guys. Good to be with you.
Coach, my first question, and I know it's last year, but we have to talk about it. It was a special season for the Maroons. You guys were 25-6, 14-2. And ODAC with that 6-16 appearance, I think for the first time in 30 years, I believe. I just want to get your overall thoughts on last season's performance.
Yeah, it was one of those years where it felt like everything really came together, and we were thankful that we could stay healthy, and I thought our group played to its potential and really in many ways probably exceeded the expectation that many might have had for them. So fun year, really rewarding year for our guys. It was really neat to see from the standpoint of knowing what kind of guys they were, that they deserve that kind of experience. I mean, you want to see good things happen to good people, and I realized that I may not, that I'm their coach, they're my players, that I'm, that people might say I'm biased, but they're great kids. They really are. They're great individuals, and so it was neat to see a quality group of young men get that kind of experience, earn that kind of experience.
I just want to comment on the ODAC tournament. We were there. Obviously, we talked to you after a couple of the games, but just that experience in general for your guys. I mean, you guys played that first game against Lynchburg and went to overtime and had to come back early in the next game and play against Guilford, who was looking to get into the in-state tournament. I think they needed that win to get there. I just want to get your overall thoughts on the ODAC tournament and just how that prepares you for the in-state tournament after that.
Yeah, it does in a big way, because you've got to beat really strong quality teams on a neutral floor. And obviously, when you get into postseason play, it's a possession game where each possession really matters. And so you spend the whole year in the ODAC playing that way, and then it gets highlighted even more in the ODAC tournament. And I think every coach in our league probably feels like that the league itself and the tournament experience prepares you for postseason play if you're fortunate enough to get there.
Coach, I just got to come clean. I mean, there's an old saying, I think you can't judge a book by its cover. I did. So I just want to be upfront with you. I did. And so, all right. When I first see you and talk to you last year in our first podcast, I was like, this is somebody's professor. This guy, he doesn't have a bad bone in his body. He can't. He's going to sit there on the bench and watch a game calmly and whatever. And listen, I proposed this to a player, so you already know who it is. But I just, I've watched you, during the tournament and everything, and I know the guys put all their effort into the game. And no shade to you whatsoever. I hope you didn't take that the wrong way. You are in every second. You're on every play. You're into a ball game. And, when we interviewed the three guys after the ball games, and then we get to you, you're drenched. You're soaking wet. I thought you was going to come through your suit. But not only that, you have spent so much energy in a game that, you're spent after a game. And my kind of question is, I'm getting around to it, is what makes you a player's coach such as you are?
I'm not good with figuring out labels and what they mean and so forth. I think the way I look at it as a coach, my job is to serve the needs of our guys. And we do that by trying to push and hold accountable and encourage and invest and teach and demand and push them out of their comfort zone. And, sometimes that's with like I said, encouragement. Sometimes that's with demanding it from them in ways maybe that they're not believing that they're capable of doing. Sometimes it's, in a way that, is not always put your arm around them. I mean, sometimes you have to be direct and get them to understand like how you're doing it. You can be better. It's not good enough, but you can be better. And if you can get to that place, now you're going to become the best version of who you are. And but I think as a coach, we're all wired the same. We're competitors. We may show it differently, but we're all wired the same way. We all we want our teams to be successful. We want our players to be successful, and we put a lot into that. I mean, I'm no different than anybody else in that regard.
Coach, looking back at last season again, those last 5 games, the 2 there in the ODAC tournament and the 3 games in the NCAA tournament, you played in 2 overtime games. You had a game go by 1 point and then another game by 2 points. And I think the largest deficit was 5 there against Guilford in the ODAC championship. How many years off your life did you shed coaching those games?
Obviously there were some tight ones there. I mean, we were down, I think 18 to Pfeiffer with 11 minutes to play, which is not as bad as being down 11 to Lynchburg. I mean, that was dire straits. We got really fortunate on that one. The Pfeiffer game, our guys just kept chipping away, and we went to a zone. I thought that helped us. We had some guys make some really timely defensive stops and some timely baskets, which helped us. And then in the last 3 minutes, we really probably were in a situation where every play had to have a certain outcome for us to have a chance. And thankfully it did, and then Christopher Newport, I thought we were fortunate in the Pfeiffer game in some respects. I thought the Christopher Newport game, we played well enough to win start to finish, but obviously they're really good. And so we were going to have to earn it, and earn it may mean it comes down to the last possession. That's what it did. And we had, a kid named Joshua McClary, who, if you followed us at all, you knew how good a player he was. And one of the things that made him really good was he's very clutch. I mean, he just loved those moments, and he made a big shot for us at the end to win it.
What a perfect segue. I think anybody can ask the question about, missing McClary, but what does it mean this year going in without Josh? And I know he had the height to post down low, but he was also that outside guy that you could pull that wing out or pull a big guy out and shoot over top of him. Does that change anything for this year?
Yeah, he's. I mean, Clary. We call him Clary. I mean, he's a special player. I mean, one of the unique things about him was he was the best passer that I've been privileged to coach. I mean, I've been a head coach, I think, coming up on 19 years now, and I mean, he's the best passer I've ever coached. He could just see things and do things as a playmaker that it's not coaching. I can tell you that. But I just actually, ironically enough, had lunch with him today. He's back in town briefly. He's playing over in Portugal, but he's back in town briefly, and so we got to spend a little bit of time together and enjoyed just getting to catch up with him. But he brought a lot to our team, and the other senior, Josh Morse. I don't think people realize what we'll miss from him just looking at statistics. He really gave us a lot of flexibility with lineups. He was very all-around and versatile, deceptively tough kid. And so both of those guys brought a lot to the table that we need to replace. The good thing for us is that we have 17 returners, so we have a lot of guys who can help us to do that.
And I kind of proposed this to Marcus earlier. How does it feel when you know deep down inside that at any point in time during a ball game you can go 6'10", 6'8", probably 6'5", 6'6" across the back line? I mean, does that put another notch in your belt there?
Well, I think hopefully we can play some different ways. That's what our depth has hopefully allowed us to be able to do. And I do think it's one of the bigger teams that we've had at Roanoke. Maybe biggest, I don't know, but it's definitely one of the bigger teams. But size on paper and size and how big you play on the court can be two very different things. You can have some teams that are big, but they may not play very big. So like I'll take Gavin O'Malley as an example. Gavin is probably 6'5", maybe 6'6" with shoes on, but legitimately probably 6'5". But he plays bigger than that. I mean, he is a tough kid, and so I'm appreciative as a coach that we've got some guys that play bigger than their size. Just because they have a real competitive spirit about them.
Coach, I'm not trying to pry or, well, maybe I am, but, I noticed that, last year when you played in the ODAC tournament, the semis were on Saturday. And I think one of us proposed that question to you all on Sunday after the championship. did it take a while to get the legs back? I mean, it's kind of a quick turnaround going, I guess playing into 6-7 o'clock p.m. on Saturday and turn around and playing the championship at 1 or 2 o'clock p.m. on Sunday. Are you happy with the way that the conference has kind of changed things around with the semifinals on Friday night and then I guess a 8 p.m. start for the finals on Saturday?
Well, it's a good question. I think, the way the tournament was originally set up, but when I first started, I mean, everything was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, everything. It was 3 straight days, quarters on, we're at the Civic Center. I thought it gave it a really big time feel. It was the only Division III conference tournament where everything was at a neutral site, which I think the players really appreciated. Because of different factors, they've had to change a few things, understandably. So now, as you said, it's Wednesday into the weekend, depending on which years the men and the women play. But I don't think it affects my experiences. I don't think it affects the legs if you're fortunate enough to make it to the championship, whether it's Saturday or Sunday. These are young kids, and I can tell you, I've been a part of some of those teams that have made it to that championship day. They're going on adrenaline, like they are juiced to play, and so they're not talking about how tired they are. They're not talking about their legs. They're not talking about being fatigued. They're talking about just being excited to get out there and compete one final time in the tournament to try to win an ODAC championship. So I'm really appreciative that the ODAC tournament is the way that it is, that it still gives us that neutral site feel, at least for a couple rounds, because I think that's what makes it unique compared to every other tournament at our level.
Coach, getting to the rat poison a little bit here, coming off of a season like last year and returning key players, how do you manage the expectations in the locker room to those of the preseason rankings, which you guys are, top 10 in the D3 and number 3 there in the ODAC?
I think constantly reminding your team that we haven't earned anything yet, that the rankings from this year so far are all based on what last year's team did. So last year's team earned those rankings, not this year's team, and that's not taking anything away from this year's team. We have high hopes and we have a lot of optimism and confidence in our group. We just have to go earn it, just like previous years' teams have done. So the biggest thing is to stress, like, no matter who we play, no matter where we play, to give ourselves the best chance, we have to be the hunter, not the hunted. And that's true of any successful team. I mean, you're just not going to win a lot of games in college athletics in any sport if you're not the aggressor. And so hopefully our guys will continue to take that to heart and continue to be a team that wants to go after special accomplishments and knows how tenacious and aggressive you have to be to do that.
Coach, that was almost verbatim for what we heard earlier in an interview with a special player of yours, Marcus.
Yeah,
so, I kind of proposed that question. How does it feel to be the hunted versus the hunter? And he said, oh, no, coach has already told us we're still the hunter. So it's a perfect scenario there. But, in your estimation, can you take a minute off during the game with Bill and Marcus out there as your guards now? I mean, in full well that they can handle the game like they've handled it in the past?
Like, it's not lost on me how many guys we have that I have great confidence in. I mean, that's a luxury. So it's not just Marcus and Jackson. Those are 2 really good ones, but there's plenty of others as well. You've got Pat Clevenger and Porter Stanley and Zach Rosenthal and Gavin O'Malley, as I mentioned, Caleb Franz, Clayton Gaither, Colin Fade, Ryan Truitt, Grant Hamilton, on and on and on. These guys have all played minutes for us. They've all been important pieces to what we're doing. And so just to be able to have that, I can't tell you guys that there's been a season where we felt like we've had more returning experience than what we have this year, and hopefully that pays dividends for us.
Coach, I'm always curious to know how you guys think with the expectations and last season's success for you personally. Does that confirm or maybe reassure that your process is working, and how's that confidence kind of influence your management of this year's team?
I think the thing that if you talk about process, I think we've tried to do 2 things: recruit really good kids and help hold them accountable to work hard and get the best out of who they can be and help them to become the best that they're capable of becoming. And then, where it goes from there, we'll see. But, as coaches, if we've done anything right, I would start with that. We have been very thankful that we have recruited great individuals. They're fun to be around. Life is too short. The season is too long. We're not going to deal with bad kids. And so we're thankful that every day we go to practice, like we're around really good kids. I call them kids. They're not really kids. They're young adults, but you guys know what I mean. As far as the season of last year, like reassuring us that what we're doing is working, I would say, one of the things that wasn't lost on me last year is, we got to the NCAA tournament and we were able to make a run, and that was awesome. But we've had a number of really good teams here in the 10 years I've been here, teams that were just as good and just as talented. But it's just really hard to make the NCAA tournament at our level. You've got 19 at-large bids, and you've got 419 teams or whatever it is. I think the number changes each year, so I may be wrong on that. But the point is, it's the hardest level of NCAA college athletics to get an at-large bid. And you're trying to compete to get that in a league that is as brutal as ours, where, you feel like you're constantly, there's just no margin for error. So what I'm simply saying is I really felt like that while it was great to see our team last year have what they deserved to have, we had some other teams that if they had gotten the opportunity, I think that they could have done the very same thing as well. They were that good, that deep. And so I was happy that we were able to finally be able to do that. But I also was appreciative of the other teams that we had that earned that too, and really should have had a chance to experience that as well.
Coach, a couple things what you just said. First and foremost, it's hard for me to look up in the corner up there and consider that guy a young adult. I still call him my kid, so you know how that goes. But the other thing is I still, being firsthand and sitting there watching you guys play and the ODAC overall, I stick with it. And these kids laugh at me all the time because I still call you guys the SEC of D3. So I thought it was brutal. The semis were just an absolute pleasure to watch. And I know probably were too close for your comfort, but with two games coming down the stretch like that, with that we're not finalized until the last basically 30 seconds, I guess you want to say, was just a pleasure to watch. But I told you earlier that I had to be honest with you. I had to be honest with you. Another thing, I did not get a chance to see you guys play in person at home. My first introduction to the Krieger Center was for the women's national championship game between Smith and New York University.
Yeah.
I just want to know, man, how in the world? You've got to have recruits hanging off of your arms and legs trying to get into that place, because that is one of the most phenomenal, beautiful places I've ever witnessed. Much less a basketball game, but anything. And it's a really pleasure I know it's got to be a pleasure for you guys to be able to play in a facility such as that.
Yeah, you're right. We're thankful that we get to have that. I think the important thing for us is you go to work there every day. Don't take it for granted. Appreciate it, whether you're a coach or whether you're a player. We all get to come there and call that home. So how awesome is that? It is a great place to play in. I love how noise carries when you're in there. It's spacious. It's really impressive when you watch a game in there. High definition video board. The seating is such that there's not a bad seat in the house. So it's one of those things. I don't know what everybody else's facility out there looks like. I know some from playing obviously in different places, but there's some places I've never been to. I know they're nice. I just would be really surprised if there's a nicer venue at our level than what we've been fortunate to have.
There's no way, and yours is phenomenal and head and shoulders above everybody else. I can tell you that. Look, before I have to head out real quick, I have one last question. I think we were supposed to ask you something to the effect of, who is the unk of the team?
Well, for my money's worth, the true unk is Nick Edwards. That's who I would say. He's the only one that I call unk.
Okay.
So I would have to start with Nick.
We were forced to ask that question, so I want to let you know.
No, yeah.
Coach, you talking about earlier about Josh McClary. He was all conference. He loses his 18 points a game. what was your plan or thoughts to replace his production, and how much has Caleb Franz played into that? I think he'd averaged in 12.6 points a game so far.
Right. I think, when you have a special player like Clary, you're not trying to really replace him with one guy. I think, you kind of spread the wealth out a little bit. You have different guys assume the mantle of, taking a little bit off of each other's plates to help replace the production he gave us. But some may be asked to do a little bit more than others in replacing that. And Caleb is one of those guys. He's an electric player offensively, very dynamic, fearless, has a gear that most players don't have. And he can score it a number of different ways. And then another guy I would throw in there is Ryan Truitt. They bring different things. I mean, Caleb's going to probably help us more on the offensive end, replacing what Clary gave us, and Ryan's going to help us more on the defensive end, replacing what Clary gave us. And Clary was a defensive player of the year in the league. And so there's a number of things we want to replace with that. So there'll be multiple guys that help us do that, and Caleb and Ryan are two guys that will play a role with that.
Marcus earlier was telling us how deep his team was, and I kind of look at the roster and statistics. So it's like every player on the team has logged minutes, so far through the first 5 games. It looks like you can go maybe 8 or 9 deep with the significant minutes being played. How do you see that playing out throughout the season as you get into ODAC play?
As far as our depth is concerned,
yes, sir.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting dilemma, but it's a good problem. We've had a lot of conversations with our team. We've had a lot of conversations with individual players on our team, just about the circumstances that we have. So like this, we met one day as a team in the locker room after practice, and we just wrote on the board, depth is only valuable if it's accompanied with sacrifice. And guys have to understand that we have to have some sacrifice involved in this for our depth to be a factor. And if we do, then our depth can play a critical role for us and really be an asset. But that means guys have to understand it's not going to be my night every night. And that may mean in terms of statistical production, that may mean in terms of minutes and opportunity, that may mean in terms of position. It just, it's going to vary. You can't always predict what that's going to look like. I can just tell you that it is what it is. I mean, it's not going anywhere. We have to be ready to understand that, you're going to, we have a lot of guys who can help us. And you can't play everybody every night, and you can't make everybody totally happy all the time in terms of the role being exactly what they had hoped for themselves. But everybody's role is critical, and it's also critical that everybody plays that critical role to the best of their ability. And our guys are very team conscientious, and they understand that, they embrace that, and they know what's going to be expected of them throughout the season.
I want to ask about the season so far. You guys are 4-1, 3 wins at home. You split in a couple games there up at Salisbury. Played a very good Wesleyan team up there. What things do you like so far from your team this year?
I really like our connectedness, and I like our enthusiasm for competing. I think we've been a team that, we lost to Wesleyan, as you mentioned, who's a very good team. I mean, they were in the Final Four last year. 7 of the 9 players who played in that Final Four game for them last year are back this year. So an outstanding team, really well coached. We had a big lead. We weren't able to quite finish it out. It's a learning opportunity for us. But what I was really proud of was our guys competed with the belief that, we're going to get this done. And as a coach, it's just like being a parent. You want to see your kids grow and mature and go out and conquer the world in their own way with what they want to do in life. And you want your teams to be able to go out and take the floor ready to conquer whatever challenges they may face. I thought our guys did that. But Wesleyan's really good, and it was a tight game, and it basically was tied with a minute to play, and credit to them, they made the plays in the last 60 seconds they needed to make. But I really like that about our group. I like our skill level, as we talked about. I think our depth is an important piece to who we are and our identity this year as well.
Looking at the schedule, you guys have a week off with Thanksgiving, but you come back with 2 big games there in ODAC play, playing at Guilford and at Roanoke Macon. How do you keep your guys game ready for those 2 games when you come back?
Oh, I think, our guys they understand the value of ODAC play. I mean, they understand the value of playing a game, period. I mean, you only get so many of these in your college career, and the ODAC games are only, enhance that even more. But it means we're well aware of how challenging every single ODAC game is. So, it's one of those things we're definitely diving right into the deep end of the pool. We're at Guilford and at Macon, and then we go at Shenandoah to start the year. But, our guys will be ready to compete and get after it and put their best foot forward.
Are you able to monitor how much they're taking in on Thursday, how much turkey they're having?
Well, since we have 6 days from that time before we do play, hopefully we'll have it out of the system by then, certainly. But I want them to go home. We're going to get a few days off, and I want them to go home. I want them to be with their families. It's a long season. They work really hard. They need a break. They need to be able to go home and enjoy some quality family time, and then we'll get the opportunity to get back and get back to work.
Coach, your part of your scheduling philosophy, I mean, with the success you had last year, did you want to challenge this team with the out-of-conference schedule? I mean, you played in Wesleyan, played at Salisbury, play a really good Redlands team as well, and then you have Gettysburg. Yeah. Was there a schedule philosophy there to kind of challenge this team in the beginning?
Yeah, I think we felt like we had a chance to have a good team. That time will tell, but we're confident that if we work hard and stay healthy and do the right things, that we'll give ourselves a chance to be really good. And so, if you want to have a chance to see if you can make the NCAA tournament, you can't hide from the fact that you have to play the schedule that's going to give you the opportunity to earn the marks that you need to earn with the NPI. I mean, I really like the NPI setup. I think it's data driven, so there's no it's none of this committee stuff and people's opinions, and it's straightforward. And here are the numbers, and you know what you need to do. You need to play good teams, and then you need to beat a few of those good teams as well. And you need to take care of business, in every game that you're a part of, to the best of your ability. If you lose enough games, no matter who it's against, eventually you'll play your way out. And so you better be ready to take care of business every night. But that includes, winning some of those games against those elite level teams. That is going to boost your NPI, your index number.
Because along with that, I mean, I really thought that ODAC should have had 5 teams in last year with the NPI, but Wesleyan was or Virginia Wesleyan kind of hang out there, so it's unfortunate. But kind of talking about the ODAC overall, you kind of mentioned too about the elite talent there. You have 2 Randolph Macon. You guys are number 10. Wesleyan's number 14. You have 17 Hampton City, and then you still have Guilford, Lynchburg, Shenandoah, who's elevated their program. What's it like coaching in this conference day in and day out?
It's great in the summer because you can talk about how great your league is, and people know it's the truth. It's miserable in the season because you never feel like you get a night off. You just it's a great thing. You're very prideful about it in the off season, but then you get in season and it's just one right after the other. I mean, there really isn't. It's just not a league that allows you to feel like that. You can show up unprepared, or you can show up without your best, or you can show up, not dialed in. It just doesn't allow. It's not a forgiving conference. And if you're a true competitor, you appreciate that. But I'm not gonna lie to you. There are some days when I wouldn't mind if it were a little bit easier, and it's not.
I mean, to look at your January is really tough. You get Shenandoah, Hampton City at home, then you go to Wesleyan and Lynchburg and whatnot. When you see a schedule like that, how are you make sure you guys get enough rest and are able to go for the next game? Or what are you doing in between games?
Yeah, I think you just have to be able to read your team and read the situation. Sometimes teams need practice. They need to work on things. They need to be competitive in an environment where we can teach. Sometimes teams need to have the foot off the pedal a little bit. I think hopefully we try to figure that out and do so while communicating with our players, kind of getting some feedback from some of the older guys who have been through it and understand and know, like, what do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? What does our team need? But it's a balancing act. I mean, I think you never want to. You always want to make sure you're prepared, and you know how much work goes into trying to be prepared. But you also want to make sure that you're sensitive to the fact that it is just what you said. It's a long season. I mean, it's 4.5 months. And if you're not careful, you'll run out of gas before you get close to the finish line.
Coach, is a little bit tongue in cheek, and you kind of mentioned talk about this a little bit earlier. When you have a season like last year, how much easier is it to sell Roanoke College to potential prospects? And if you could talk about I guess it was your incoming freshman class, but your freshman class there now with Murray, Davis, Mans, Parkins, I think, and Studer, I think is his name.
Yeah. So when you have, I think when you have a year like we had last year, it just gives you one more thing to promote. It catches people's attention. You can talk about getting to postseason play and getting to the Sweet 16 and being ranked 15th in the final poll and things of that nature. So can a lot of other teams in our league. So I don't know if it separates us, but it definitely hopefully it catches the eye of some people you may be talking to. But yeah, I like our freshman class a lot. They think the benefit for them, they probably may not look at it as a benefit because everybody wants to play, and I get that. You want to recruit players who want to aspire to be on the floor. But the benefit for these guys is that coming into a situation with so many returners, they can kind of grow at their own pace. They don't have to have their feet thrown into the fire so quickly. They don't have to, learn in a tough environment. When you're a freshman and you have to be counted on right away, that's really hard. I mean, it really is. Even when you have some success, you feel like you're failing a lot more than you're successful. That's just the nature of it because college basketball is so demanding and there's so much to adjust to. So when you can kind of do it off of the stage of the lights of a game and make those mistakes in practice and grow in practice and develop in practice, you maybe can do it at a rate that's more conducive for being able to feel like you're getting better and growing and then maybe more ready when your time does come to have a chance to get on the floor.
And I want to hit on that too. I mean, you're not afraid as a coach to play freshmen. I mean, looking at Marcus Morgan, looking at his stats, he played freshman year. Caleb, who is contributing this year as a sophomore, played some minutes there last year as a freshman. Do you put an emphasis to play freshmen to get them that experience, later down the road, or how do you approach that?
We're going to play the best guys that give us the best chance to win, the best help the team. I mean, I think if you do anything beyond that, it complicates it, muddies the waters a lot. So, if you're a freshman, but you're good enough to help us and you're ready to help us, I think our job as coaches, among other things, is to put our players in position to be successful. So if you're not ready, then I'm failing you if I'm trying to force you into something that you're not ready for. But by the same token, if you are ready, Marcus was ready when he was a freshman. Gavin O'Malley was not ready at the start of his freshman year, but by the middle of January, he was, and he started playing for us. So everybody's journey is different. Jackson Bell didn't start playing for us until he was a sophomore. So everybody's journey is different. But, we try to figure out how to help them, get them ready. And then when they are ready, then certainly we invest in them in terms of helping the team on the court.
Coach, last couple here, and we'll get you out of here. Just about Roanoke College in general, with your success last year and just maybe in the last 10 years as well. And then you have football coming back. What's the buzz around campus? And, how much does that athletic department kind of support you guys?
Yeah, it's been great. The athletic department's always been very supportive and tremendous, and added football, and that brought a lot of neat perspective and neat fanfare. And I'm a college football fan, and so it was neat to be able to have a team that at our own school now. And I thought they had a great first year in the ODAC. So there's a lot of I'm appreciative as an employee at Roanoke that I work with some great coaches. I mean, up and down the entire hallway, some really, really good coaches, just quality people and outstanding at what they do in terms of professionally, and it's fun to watch them work.
And Coach, kind of last one is an open-ended question, but talk about this season. And so my question is, if the Maroons are to make it back to the postseason, you guys have to do what this year?
Not lose our edge. I think you have to be that hungry team that feels like it's desperate to want to accomplish something that it hasn't accomplished yet, whatever that is. And if our guys want to do A, B, or C, whatever those are, then let's go after them with all out pursuit and uncompromising commitment. And if we can do that, then we'll give ourselves a chance to see how good we can be.
Well, Coach, we want to appreciate your time. And I also want to commend you. We talked to Marcus this year, or just a little bit ago, and then we talked to you guys last year at the ODAC tournament, and it seems like they're all just well coached and great individuals. So commend you for being a great coach and just a great teacher to them as well. So
well, you kind of say that, but I would just tell you that our guys are great kids, are great individuals. They got to Roanoke like that. They didn't become like when they got to Roanoke. They got to Roanoke like that. In other words, that's a credit to them and to their families and the homes they were raised in. So we're appreciative as coaches at Roanoke that we get to be around those kind of guys.
Well, Coach, that's awesome to hear. Well, you've heard it here from Coach Clay Nunley, the head coach of the Roanoke Maroons there for basketball. Thank you, Coach, so much for coming on.
Yeah, Gregory, good to spend time with you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. All right, I want to welcome to the program a Charlotte, North Carolina native, second-team All-ODAC in his junior season, and currently in his senior campaign to lead the Maroons back to the postseason. It's Mr. Marcus Morgan. Marcus, welcome to the show.
Appreciate that. Glad to be here.
Hey, we talked to you last year at the ODAC tournament, and I was like I was telling you before, I was like, we got to get him back on here, do some player interviews. So I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, no problem.
My first question. So looking at last season's stats, right? You're second on team in scoring, I think 14th overall in the ODAC, second in assists, first in rebounds, I think 10th overall in the ODAC in rebounds. Was last season just a preview of what you can bring to the table for your senior year?
100%. I think last year is just every single year is more preparation for the next year. Mm-hmm. So like your goal for every single year is to get better as you progress in college. And I think every single year I've been progressing. So I'm hoping this year I'm going to put in even more of a show.
Well, I mean, going to your senior year, what were your goals as a player and as for the team?
So as a player, me individually, my personal goals was to be consistent every single game, in and out every single night, and provide more leadership on the court. We lost Clary last year and Josh Morris, and those were two big leaders for our teams, two big captains. So this year we were just hoping to replace those roles, and I think that's where I want to step in, just leadership-wise.
Well, I want to talk about your experience. So you're a senior there, but as a freshman, you started, I think, 16 games as a freshman. How did that experience playing as a freshman kind of set you forth for your sophomore and junior campaigns?
It's huge. It's a big confidence booster for me. I think coming in freshman year, I had those conversations with Coach Nunley in the office. I knew expectations coming in, and it honestly surpassed my expectations. I didn't see that come into play and start out those 16 games, but it really prepared me to become a veteran throughout the rest of the ODAC and continue to slow the game down for me. That's the biggest thing when it comes to college basketball. The game has to slow down, and it's slowed down a lot for me.
Marcus, he said he was asking one question and it turned into three. So you know how dominating it is. So I'll get my first one in. You kind of hit one of my first questions right in the head. And everybody asks about Josh. What does it mean when he's gone? But we were there for quite a few games there, and then especially in the ODAC tournament, and I was able to see Josh Morse play quite a bit. I mean, what does or have you had to change your game at all? Or is there somebody else that's near you that is trying to fill that gap? Because I know Josh, he's 6'7" and he could play inside, but I know he had a really good outside game too. So how does that, kind of losing him, how does that change your role?
So it's weird every single year because when you lose players, the team dynamic has to change. Not every single player is the exact same, and that's what makes it special. So when we lose guys, we have to fill and replace. But it's weird how the talent and the kind of versatility changes. Like with Patrick Clevenger, he had to fill Josh Morris's shoes and Josh Morris is a big inside guy, and Pat's a big outside guy, which is pretty insane to flip over. But with the chemistry that we have going into the season and building upon that, we make it work. And then with Clary, Clary was all out everything, 3-level threat scorer. Big leadership, a lot of defense, and we had two freshmen last year, Ryan and Caleb, who came in, had some big minutes during the tournament run and during the ODAC championship, and they had to fill in his shoes, and they're doing it together. So it's special to see as a senior.
Well, I kind of glanced over the this year's roster, and it appears, and then you might be able to correct me here, but it looks like that you guys can go. I know you can go 6'10" and 6'8" and possibly 6'5", I think, on the other wing. What does that do for you guards? Does that help you guys? As far as driving, penetrating, dishing, if you go to a zone, does that help you guys kind of get out and transition a little bit better?
Yes, it makes the game a whole lot different. Last year, expectations-wise, everything was pocket pass, bounce pass in every single pocket. Now everything's over the head because we got height. We have height this year, which is a big flip. And, it takes some adjustment to get used to that because we weren't used to that last year. But the more that we get used to and comfortable with it, the easier it gets. So it's everything's a big adjustment when it comes to that.
All right, I'll get a couple boy out, Gregory, while you sit back. So you just listen, okay? No, in all seriousness, we were at the ODAC semis and the ODAC finals, and just kind of personally for you, you go overtime, I believe, in your game against Lynchburg. That was kind of a quick turnaround going back into Sunday, and I know we kind of asked that question: was it the quick turnaround? Did it hurt your legs at all for the final game? So, the reason why I'm asking this question is, and I'm sure you're well aware of it by now, the semis are going to be on Friday night or, Friday afternoon, Friday night, and then they're going to play the finals at night again this year, about, I guess, 8 p.m. So it'll give everybody a little bit chance to catch a few more hours. Does that mean a big difference? And I know you're going to be there.
Yeah, it's a big difference. It's weird because I try to compare it to an NBA schedule. Like you see when the teams go back to back, their legs, you see their energy is more dead and tired, and and we don't pride ourselves on that. We make no excuses over here at Roanoke College. We try to do our best of applying ourselves every single night, doing the same thing, and as long as we do that, we'll get the job done. But I think it makes a huge difference when it comes to legs, energy, and you kind of build yourself up for that game. Like it makes you want to not sleep at night and get up in the next morning and go through a routine, and it makes you feel more prepared for it.
All right, my turn. All right, so going back to your experience as a freshman, you kind of talked a little bit already, but how big of an adjustment was it going from playing high school ball to playing in D3? Was there a significant skill level change for you?
Yes, a huge skill level change. I think the biggest piece for me was the adjustment to the ODAC. I didn't realize how physical this league is and how every single night there's no easy games. I think in high school, it's a mix of basketball and football players on high school teams. So sometimes there's a weakness. And in college, there's no weakness. Everybody plays college basketball. They're there for a reason. So that was definitely a big adjustment to me, just trying to understand the game in and out and not speed myself up and not losing the confidence on the court just because, the guys have been there for longer.
All right. They laugh at me, Marcus, because I call the ODAC the D3 or SEC, D3 of SEC, SEC of D3, whatever you want to call it. And they kind of laugh at me about that. But, we sat right there at the ODAC. I think the ODAC tournament was a perfect example of that. I mean, you had 4 teams that were quality teams. Each game in the semifinals came down basically to the last 30 seconds. And, I know you guys went OT, but the last, and then even in the finals, I mean, it was a dogfight till, a minute left to go in the game. It was anybody's ball game. So, but how much did the ODAC tournament and the ODAC schedule itself prepare you guys for, I think you make it to the 3rd round of the NCAA. So how does that prepare you for that? And, I guess we'll take it a step further. How much more prepared for this year are you from that tournament experience?
So I think last year with the whole tournament run, the ODAC in general, like you said, it is pretty much like the SEC of D3 basketball. It really prepares you mentally, physically, emotionally through every game in and out. So when it came to the semifinals, and especially with us being that close, I think a lot of the times we haven't experienced close games like that and that kind of desperation of a semifinals or a championship. So then going into the tournament, we walk in with confidence saying that, okay, we play in one of the best conferences in the league. We're playing against a team who maybe not in the best conference, but we know they're really good because they made the tournament. We know that we can compete with them just because of what we had to go through to get there, who we had to play against, and our strength of schedule. We know that we're prepared to play against any other team. And I think that really took our confidence into this year because we lost 2 guys, 2 very strong pieces, but we had the whole team back. And every guy is getting better during the offseason and going to the season. We expect stronger lifting numbers, stronger mentality, stronger confidence. So when the new season comes up and we play against really good teams, we're like, okay, we we're on that level. We're on that platform. We made the tournament before. We've made an ODAC run. We're here. We belong here. So that's the confidence we go into every single game.
Hitting on last year, like you just talked about, you guys finished 25-6, 14-2 in the ODAC, Sweet 16 berth, like we just said. Did you guys know going into last year that your team could be special? And do you guys have a similar feeling this year as well for this campaign? So
I think going into last year, it was really special for me specifically because it was my junior season. We were underdogs. I don't think we were preseason ranked into the top 25. So we were the underdogs. And we found out throughout those whole November and December, I think December was the turning point where we knew, okay, we belong on this level. We deserve it and we should go get it this year. And I think going into this year, now that we're preseason ranked, we know that we deserve it. We deserve that. And the thing is with our team, our outlook is that we don't focus on what the team last year did because the team last year got us this preseason rank. We got to go earn it. And so that's why our confidence is, okay, we deserve it. We're still the underdogs.
All right. So last year, you're the hunter. This year, you're the hunted.
Big target.
What's the message from you to the team, and what's the message from Coach Nunley to you guys?
Exactly what you said, that we're the targeted. But the message is that we are still the hunters. Okay, like we got preseason ranked number 10. We are ranked right now number 15 in the country. So obviously we have that big target on our back and teams want to get us. But at the same time, we want to get every other team. We don't value ourselves as better than any other team. When we step up and play against the team, the records are 0-0, and it's the best team wins at that point. So every single game, that's how we go in our mentality.
He stole my question, by the way. But anyways, a player we've mentioned, Josh McClary, averaged 18 points a game last year. Just kind of curious for you, so far this season, has there been a dynamic change from the defenses who maybe zeroed in on Josh last year? Maybe you guys could float around and get some open spots. Has the dynamic changed this year to where they're more maybe focused on you guys more often? And is it harder to score for yourself?
The dynamic has changed a little bit. I think with me specifically, I know that I'm probably going to be top people scouts because Clary's gone. We were 1-2 punch last year. So, it's next man up. But it's also fun because we have such depth on our team that no one understands and no one really can comprehend how many guys can play on the court and the ability of, and that's really our strength right there. So it really makes it hard for teams to scout us just because of our depth. And you don't just scout me or scout Jackson Bell or Gavin O'Malley. You scout Patrick Clevenger, Caleb Franz, Ryan Truitt, Colin Fade, Clayton Gaither. You scout the whole team. It's not just individual guys anymore.
I got an added experience to my last year or to 25 or whatever, or earlier this year to the ODAC experience. I guess you want to call it NCAA tournament fever, I guess you want to call it, Marcus. And I was able to attend the Women's National Championship on your campus at the Krieger Center. It was one of the most – I had never been in the place. So I just got to tell you, it was – my mouth just dropped when I walked in the place. And I was just like, this is one of the most dynamic places that anybody could play basketball. And I'll ask you, and I'll probably ask Coach this as well, and I probably have in the past, but what does that center do for you guys playing in that kind of arena? I mean, it's second to none, man. And then what does that do for your or what does it do for exposure for Roanoke College as well as when you guys have to entertain, prospects and stuff like that?
It makes it easy. I think the Krieger Center was my selling point. There's not a lot of opportunities at any college level that you get to play in an arena. And I remember my first time walking in here and all the bleachers were pulled out and both rims were up. And I said, oh my gosh, this is a dream. This is a dream to be in here. So it makes it easy. I think it also, for us in general as a team, it gives us a certain confidence that we're on that level. We're not playing in no high school gym anymore. This is a college gym and a college facility that we get to play in front of a huge crowd. Like you said, that D3 national championship, it's an amount of room to fit everybody. Everyone can be in there. So, the fact that we know that we can have those crowds in and out every single night is nothing but grateful for it.
Marcus, we were talking before we got started about Jackson. He'll be on here next year. Like I said, he has to wait his turn. But how fun is it to be able to play again with him side by side? But also a player you mentioned earlier that I was seeing the statistics on, Caleb Franz. He was a freshman last year, got some playing time. But did you expect him to have this type of season so far? He's averaging about 12.6 points a game so far.
Yes. I think with Jackson Bell, addressing him first, the way that he plays is different than many. Like, he's athletic, 6'4", long arms, can shoot, and can get to the rim. So he does a lot for us in that aspect, and it makes my game easier. And same thing with Caleb. Like, he's a small, stocky guard, but he's not an easy pushover. Like, he's tough, really got some grit to him, and is real confident when he comes to his shot. Like, his shot is pure all the time. So, and playing with them two, it really makes the game easier for me because, when it comes to my game, I like to post up. And when it comes to them, they like to shoot. So if you help with me, they're going to shoot. And if you don't help, then I'm going to post up. Like, it's such complimentary towards our team with all actions and all kind of spots and positions for everybody. And that's what makes us successful this year.
I don't want to throw any shade to McClary at all because he was such a great player, but we watched that semi and the finals, and he had a little bit of tough time in the finals. He did get going in the second half, but you and Bill, and I know I called him Bell time because, the dude hits clutch shots here all over the place. So, but, with that, knowing that you had, I guess you want to call you the Three Musketeers or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what y'all's nickname was at that time, but, how much confidence is it knowing that, hey, our big guy then, I'm the big guy now, I can step up, or you can, let Jackson take over. How much pressure does that take off of your chest for a ball game?
Oh, it takes a lot of pressure off. And like I said, with the versatility of our team and the depth, it goes for that for any guy. Like, we didn't have Zachary Rosenthal last year, and now he's here this year, and he's a big time shot shooter, and same thing for Caleb Franz. Like, when we made the tournament run and against Pfeiffer, we needed a big guy to step up, and Caleb was our big guy, which is crazy. He was hitting a lot of threes and making good plays. And the same thing for this year, like with Jackson Bell, we had high expectations for how he was going to play. And he, surpassed that. And it's easy to know that this year we're getting those guys back and they're going to do the exact same thing, if not better. So, for me, it's a whole confidence thing going into the season and going through the season, knowing that I have guys who surround me who can make big shots and make big plays. And it's not going to be just any pressure with any of us.
Is it better this year that you don't have to hear all those McClary names? You don't have to hear that old guy over at Hampton City. I think his name was Brazel. You got rid of all the old guys. Is it better this year? Is it a better league now?
For me, it's always better getting everybody out. So we don't have to keep guarding them. And like with Clary, I would have to guard him during practice, and I hated it. He's tough. He's tough. He's the tough son of a gun. So it's tough to guard him. And then when okay, I guard Clary during practice, and then next thing you know, I have to guard Brazel the next game. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. So it's always nice getting new guys out of here, but it's also nice seeing new guys come in, and knowing that the league that is quoted as the SEC of D3 will stay the SEC of D3.
Hey, quick question: Who guards Nick during practice? Nick Price.
Sadly me. Sadly me. Nick is he was a talent here at Roanoke, and he still got it. Crazy enough. So he just has to stretch first.
There we go. I like that. You guys are currently 4-1. You're averaging, I think, 11 points a game, 5 boards. For someone who's never played ODAC basketball or played college basketball at all, how long does it usually take you to get into a groove or get into that mid-season form? Are you already there?
For me, I'm still progressing. Like, every single day for our team in general, we're all learning. It's every day is a new learning day. So you really won't get into that groove until about late January, start of February, and that's when you need to be in that groove. Because if you're not, then it's anybody's ball game in the ODAC. Like, everybody's in that groove, which is crazy. So I really prioritize myself and just keep being consistent, keep learning, keep watching film so I can figure out, who's coming where, if I'm getting trapped, or if somebody's open, or where to do this and where to do that. And I'm hoping, our team is doing that too, which is why we're getting better every single game. And I think that's how we compete on a very tall level and a very big platform throughout the D3.
And I know you're going to share this program with Coach Nunley. And let me tell you something. We interviewed him at the beginning of last year, and I sat there and I looked at his picture. I know I'd seen him at some games before, at some Averett games, because I guess Gregory has told you I'm an old Averett guy. But anyway, I look at him and I go, man, this guy's going to sit down the whole game. He's not going to say a whole lot. And then when we saw him in action, I was like, this dude's going to sweat through his suit. I mean, he is nonstop. He's action all over the place. And I just want to find out from you. I mean, is he a player's coach? And, I'm not asking you to go get personal or anything to that effect, but I mean, is he somebody that the guys want to go to war with because he's got your back 24/7?
Yes. And I think it doesn't really, what people don't see is you guys see the game stuff. You don't see the practice. The practice, he's 10 times harder on us, 10 times harder, because he has high expectations for us. And he genuinely wants our success and us to prove our worth, because he knows that for many years, Roanoke has always been an underdog and underrated. So the fact that we're finally getting a platform, we don't want to get complacent, and we want to continue to be an underdog in that mindset. So when it comes to games and anybody messes up, and like we said, we have that depth. So it really puts pressure on you, a good pressure, really puts pressure on you to say, I want to do good because I want to keep playing. And if you're not doing good and it's not your night, you get subbed out and it's somebody else's night. But we really are he's really a player's coach in that perspective of wanting our guys to win. And he really, promotes that and feeds us confidence in that way.
Well, and one thing that I noticed, and I'll let Gregory have it rest of the way, but the one thing I noticed after, in our press conference or whatever, after the game and everything, I know you guys were worn out, but he was almost, I mean, you could tell that he was worn. He was mentally worn. And the thing I really loved was, I mean, he was torn apart as well. When y'all lost in the championship last year, it hurt him to the core. And to me, you don't see that in many coaches. And I just think, man, when you see that in a coach, he really cares about his kids and about his program. So kudos to you guys.
Appreciate that. Yeah, he really does care about us in multiple ways, on the court and off the court, especially, just to make sure that the guys that he recruits and the guys that he builds relationship goes a long way in life. And it's not even just about basketball. It's about life in general. So, it's always nice to play for a coach like that.
Marcus, just talking about the schedule overall, you guys are 4-1. You've already played Wesleyan, Marymount, and Salisbury. And then, like we talked about before, like you guys have a week off and you come back and play in Guilford or at Guilford and at Roanoke Macon. How are you guys kind of staying game ready throughout this break and you come back ready for those two big games?
So the first things first, after a long weekend, is rest. That's the biggest emphasis. So today and tomorrow is going to be about rest and making sure we're still engaged. And obviously, like you said, we have a long break. So, when we come back, we're going to be well prepared and mentally, most likely. So we already are getting into the rhythm physicality wise. So over the break, we are expected to run, expected to condition and stay up to date, lift and all that stuff, because we have a tough schedule. Like you said, it's tough to go for a long break and then have to play SEC comp, Guilford and Roanoke Macon, and then right after that go into a Christmas tournament playing against Redlands and Wilson. It's never an easy day, so we always have to mentally and physically stay prepared.
Yeah, I mean, how do you keep your body in shape or keep your body from being getting hurt throughout the season? I mean, you play a long ODAC schedule, and then like you said before, it's a very physical league.
So, and this is for my recruits out there. This is a recruiting point. The training room is top tier facility. We have really great trainers in there. I would say the name specifically, but I don't want to, get into that. But we have really great trainers, and the facility itself with hot tub, cold tubbing, cups, they really take good care of you. So that's the first things first. We always emphasize, if you're hurt, if you're injured, or if you have any bruises or anything, go to the training room. We'll figure everything else first. You'll get your Advil and your ibuprofen when game comes, but go to your training room, take care of yourself first, and then that'll help us throughout the season.
All right.
Also in that aspect, Coach Nunley does a really good job of making sure we stay good with our longevity. So giving us that opportunity to take those rests, and like during practice, sometimes we have to deload because he sees that guys are not performing to the top tier because of how we feel physically. So it's easy with a coaching facility like this.
All right, I don't wish no bad luck on anybody, and I don't want you to sit here and dwell on this schedule, but I just all of a sudden said, I'm going to look at the schedule. What are y'all talking about? Oh, my gosh. Dude, where is the break at? So you play your first 2 conference games against Guilford and Macon. You know, you go through your Christmas holidays and your tournaments and stuff. And then, my goodness, Shenandoah, Washington Lee, Hampton Sydney, Virginia Wesleyan, University of Lynchburg. Where does it stop?
It doesn't.
How do you prepare for that?
It doesn't stop, but that's the good thing, though, because we know that we have to perform on that level every single night, and there's a certain pressure and reward to it. And I think the best part that comes about it is, why we perform and try to perform our best every single night, is the reward that comes with it. The talking and the expectations of how we could be so good and we can do this, we can do that. The fact that we play these teams and are expected to perform our best and win almost every single night is what makes it fun.
My last thing, Marcus, is, I know all about load management and all this stuff in the NBA. I'm looking at January 31st. It is a home game for you guys. It is against Averett. And if you and Jackson don't mind, I think that's a perfect time for you guys to, maybe take a break and sit down for the game. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here, okay?
Yeah. The funny part is about Averett is they're really good this year too. Like there's no breaking the ODAC. There's no breaking the ODAC. Shenandoah is going to be pretty good this year. EMU might be solid. They're going to perform the best that they can in capabilities. And even then, inside and out, if you take those load management games or you sit out, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. And that's the best part about being in one of the best conferences in the ODAC, that every single night, every single given team has the opportunity to beat anybody. Any given Sunday, as my parents always say.
I'm an EMU alum, so same thing he said for our team as well. I want to kind of end this, talk about yourself. So kind of go back to high school. We do a lot of recruiting stuff for prospects here around, Danville, Lynchburg, and Roanoke area. For you personally, when did you start getting or start receiving college interest? And then, what visits did you take, and what did you think about D3 basketball?
So sophomore year was my first time playing varsity, and I did okay. I had an okay season, but junior year is when my recruitment really took off. And I think coaches really saw, number one, I got to give credit to my brother. my oldest brother, Matt, he played at Cornell University, really did a good job there, played a little bit at the Toronto Raptors D League, then played overseas. So when coaches see, okay, his brother can do that, let's see if he can do that. It puts pressure on you, and it really makes you perform in confidence. And that's what I did my junior summer going into my senior year. And that's when recruitment really took off for me. And I think when that happened, it sparks a flare in you. It really just makes you feel like, okay, I can perform on all these levels. I got recruited D1 through D3, and I feel like I made the best decision for me, and the best case scenario worked out for it. So, I'm happy where I am and comfortable where I am. It's nice to play in an arena, I'll tell you that.
I want to ask, so like when you're making the decision, are you thinking about, is it immediately playing time, or is it, hey, the campus, or is it education? And what led you to Roanoke?
So the biggest advice that someone gave me that I give other recruits is the first decision you have to make is the school. Because you never know nowadays, especially with coaches and situation with players. You could look for playing time or who's the best coach, but coaches transfer out and players transfer in. So there's never a guaranteed spot wherever you go. It's always the school, the academics portion, and then the connections that come out of it. So as long as you're going to a good school first, then the basketball will come. You will get playing time eventually at some point, anytime. So the biggest decision is the school.
All right, I thought I had one last, or I thought I was finished. I got one last one. I was looking at some action photos of Mr. Marcus Morgan. One last question, Marcus. Is the headband coming back?
The headband has been put away.
Oh, no. I was going to go old school.
Yeah, it's funny because I've been doing this since I'm in middle school. Every single year, I always dress in a different fashion. So it's like one year I'll have one leg sleeve down and one leg sleeve up, or next year I'll have two leg sleeves, and then I would just have a t-shirt underneath or something like that. So every single year is different. And I feel like that gives me a kind of confidence that like every single year I'm coming in different. And every single year I'm gonna hopefully get better. So that's the headbands put away forever.
Before the
I
rapid
might
fire,
bring it back for senior night though. Senior night might come back, so look out for that.
before the rapid fire, your thoughts on the players who wear the long sleeves?
Great. Take it off.
Yeah,
I thought you were about to say the short. Yeah.
No, long sleeves. It just looks weird. It's just different. I don't know. Each their own, right? Each their own. They can make a shot with that.
Some people are like, you're too strong for that. Too strong.
All right, so you ready for some rapid fire here? Is either or questions? 10 questions here. Like I said, we're gonna keep track of this all throughout the season. So we can compare everybody to them. Okay.
Okay.
All right. First one here: buzzer beater or blowout win?
Buzzer beater.
Really? You like the nervousness there? You don't like
Yeah, I think the best one was at Lynchburg when Jacksonville hit that one from the corner. I've never. That was probably my best college experience ever. Like the cheering in the locker room and on the court, we running and storming at somebody's house. Like that was fun. That was fun. I love it.
All right, I like that. Conditioning weight room day or film study?
Film.
Ooh.
Film.
Yeah, he had to think about that.
You would have had me in the weight room, but you said conditioning with it. No, that's good.
Coach Nunley will hear this later, so just let you know. Pull up jumper or drive to the rim?
Drive to the rim.
I can see that. You mentioned how you like to be back to the goal, so I can
That's the
see
whole
that.
game right there. Drive to the rim.
Man to man or zone defense?
Man to man.
There you go. Thank goodness.
Yeah. I don't like zones. I feel like the man makes you feel like when you stop somebody from driving left or right, it makes you feel a different kind of. You can't score on me.
Exactly.
So this next one, I thought I knew the answers to this one, but we've gotten so many different answers to this. So Powerade or Gatorade?
Gosh, that's a tough one. All right, I drink Gatorade the most, but I'm going with Powerade.
Oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on. I thought Gatorade was a shoe-in, but it's been Powerade. It's been Powerade.
Yeah.
Trash talker, or do you let your game do the talking?
Be honest now. Be honest.
That's a real tough one. That's a real tough one. I gotta say I let the game do the talking because I don't talk trash enough. Like I would talk trash and then I get tired and I just forget about it.
I like that.
All right, Marcus. Hey, just use it one time. Okay, just one time this year. You can't carry my jock in a tractor trailer. Okay, just one time. It'll work. I'm telling you.
Can't carry my jock in a tractor trailer.
Yeah, there you go.
I use the next game on the N one.
There you go.
There you go. Ankle breaker crossover or the poster dunk?
I was about to say the first one. I would say poster dunk because I never did that before.
Okay.
And I won one. One.
And then this is more of like a humility question here. Okay, we want to know.
Oh wow.
All right, so this is a little different. So it's kind of the opposite of what we just asked you.
Okay.
Would you rather be dunked on or have your shot blocked into the stands?
Shot blocked into the stands 1,000 times. Because the video you get dunked on stays on the internet for multiple years. I've seen it with people.
I agree with that one.
Yeah, one of my best friends got dunked on. And I still use that video to this day.
Oh man. Okay.
Every birthday.
I think everyone's gonna say the same thing there. Pre-game meal.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I usually eat Chick-fil-A.
Okay,
nice.
Chick-fil-A is always my go-to. I always get 4-piece chicken tender with some fries.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I get a fruit with it.
I think you're going to number one there. So, all right, Chick-fil-A tenders. Okay, all right.
Probably what we need to start eating before we do our podcast, Jerry.
I know, man. We're gonna be like Marcus Morgan and start doing that. And the last one here. This would be a good one here. Pre-game music.
Oh, Gunna 1,000%. I listen to Gunna 1,000%. Him or J. Cole, because J. Cole will always tell a story that gets you motivated, and I just my favorite song is "On One Tonight" by Gunna.
Okay, All right.
I gotta go listen to this after we finish here.
I'll tell you, like the number one answer has always been NBA YoungBoy.
That's a really good answer. That's my number 2, though. That's my number 2 or 3.
That's awesome. Well, Marcus, you did the rapid fire, you did the questions. I think you've been a great example for not only Coach Nunley, but the whole college itself at Roanoke College. So thank you so much for coming on, man.
I appreciate you guys having me, for real. It's been fun. It's been fun. You guys make this fun. It's a really good network.
And we look forward to seeing the ODAC tournament. Hopefully, maybe Big Greg will be there for the Avery game too. So we'll see the ODAC tournament for sure.
Can't carry my jock in a tractor trailer.
Say it one more time.
Can't carry my jock in a tractor trailer. Okay.
Like and one. Can't
Just
carry my jock in a tractor trailer.
Yeah, it goes exactly.
That's
Whisper in his ear before you even catch the ball. You know, he's done. He's done.
As soon as I catch it, he won't know what I'm talking about.
That's awesome.
y'all will know though. Y'all will know.
Yes, sir. Well, you heard it here from Marcus Morgan there at Roanoke College. Thank you, Marcus.
Appreciate you guys, for real.
Thank you.